Nothing to it but to do it. Nothing to it but to do it. Okay. Oh, okay. Welcome to Sentimental Fools. All right. Today I'm going to tell you a story. It's a fun one. It's heartwarming. Okay? It's nice. Takes some twists and turns. It has some surprises. Okay? Oh, dear. All right, this is the story. It's one of my favorite stories. Okay? It's one of my favorites. This is the story of how I got my dream guitar. Okay? The story of my dream guitar. Because I have my dream guitar. Okay? I have it. And the way I got it, I never expected to get it that way. It was kind of a surprise, okay? A very interesting one, okay? And I think it's fun. It's fun, okay? So let's back up a little bit. I just want to talk about just in general, just dream instruments, okay? Okay. Because every musician fantasizes about the perfect thing. Okay, if you're a drummer, it's just like, oh, what would be the perfect drum set? What would do everything? You know, just for me. What color would it be? What would it be made out of? How would it be set up? You know, every musician fantasizes about this. I want to back up just a little bit and talk about kind of the evolution of my dream guitar. It's something I've thought about for a long time. Okay, so I got into music. I caught the bug. Okay, I caught the bug back in, like, I don't know, 2006 or 7 or something like that. Okay, here's what got me into guitar. I was playing goddamn Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 for the first time. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. All right. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, little side note, that was a really incredible thing it did back in the day, before you could listen to everything you wanted to on the internet and on YouTube or whatever. That was a really, really cool thing they did back in the day. It had all these games, they had soundtracks. Okay. They had all these, like, the songs from the time that the game devs just were really hyped on and wanted to get in the game, and it exposed people to this music, to these cool songs that maybe you didn't hear them on the radio, or maybe you just missed them, or you didn't know where to find them, or whatever, They exposed me to things. They exposed me to Primus, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. Jerry was a race car driver. You fucking kidding me? So good. So awesome. But anyway, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Okay? This was the first time that music ever got me high. All right? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Every Tony Hawk Pro Skater game had an intro. All right? It was an intro. It was an edit. It was a video edit of all the different skaters that you'd see in the game doing sick shit. Okay, doing cool stuff. All right, cool edit, and they would set it to one of the songs that would be featured in the game. And in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, all right, it was TNT by AC/DC. All right, I had never heard AC/DC before. Okay, back in the day, I was playing this when it was new. And I popped in that disc into the good old PS2, all right? And that started up, and I heard that first chord of TNT, just that, and I got so fucking high, dude. My eyes widened, I got goosebumps, and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I didn't know music could do that, right? Don't get me wrong, I liked music before that. I listened to music before that. I mostly just, I enjoyed music with cuss words in it because that was fun, That's most of my relationship with music, is if they just did like, if somebody had a song that was dirty or there were swear words in, I like that, but that first chord of TNT got me so fucking high. Music never made me feel that way before. Right. And that was the moment. That was the moment that started the rest of my life. All right. I've been chasing that dragon ever since, just becoming desensitized and just kicking it up more and more notches and just becoming more, just doing things that are more ambitious and challenging and complex and just learning new instruments. But it all started with that one chord in the introduction of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, right? So, needless to say, I was fucking obsessed with AC/DC, okay? Because they were my first, man. They were my first. It was important, okay? But I was obsessed, okay? And this will tie back in. Just fucking hold on, okay? Just fucking hold on. I was obsessed. I had an AC/DC t-shirt for every day of the week, okay? Each with a different album on it, all right? I had an AC/DC hat that I wore fucking everywhere, all right? I collected as many of their albums as I could on CD from mostly the Rolling Stones store, right? Harlem and Irving, Chicago. All right. If you ever been through there, it's been there for fucking ever. All right. So if you know, you know. All right. But man, what an institution. Go in there. They got good deals. Get a CD for $5. It's good. It's good shit. Had them all on CD. So I was fucking obsessed, all right? So here's how it ties back in, okay? It's all coming around. So my first dream guitar, right? If you're familiar with AC/DC at all, Angus Young only plays one kind of fucking guitar, always on brand, the Gibson SG, right? So obviously that was my first dream guitar, right? The guitar I wanted, the shape, the fucking devil horns, solid guitar, Gibson SG. Excuse me. All right. Now, the first guitar I actually got, right? I got one when I was 4. I'll tell you the story about that later because I didn't touch it for a long time. It's right here. I'm looking at it. You can't see it, but I can see it. Okay. Okay. The first electric guitar I actually got was just a Ibanez, like starter pack, came with a little amp, my folks got it for me. It was very nice of them. When I was in like 8th grade back in 2007 or no, 2006. I don't fucking know. Somewhere there. And just an Ibanez G numbers, G and then G dash numbers, Strat copy, 3 single coil, just Stratocaster copy. That was the first one I got, and it was fine. I fell in love with playing guitar on that thing, right? But a little while later, again, I kind of forget when, like, I don't know, like sophomore year of high school, I think, maybe freshman, maybe sophomore. I got an opportunity to get a new guitar, not just the cheapy starter thing, so my parents could like see if I was into it without too much financial risk, right? But clearly I was fucking obsessed. I played it all the time. I was super into it. Clearly I was locked. I was locked in. Okay. So a couple years later, had an opportunity. I think it was like Christmas rolled around or something. I got to get a new guitar. Okay. I got to pick. I didn't get to pick the first one. It was just a surprise, but I get to pick. Okay. So can't get a Gibson SG, right? Way too much money. Parents aren't going to drop $1,000 on me, man, or whatever, 800. No, it's way too much. Way too much. Too young, too much, right? But I could get an Epiphone, right? I could get an Epiphone. Now, if you don't know, Epiphone is also owned by Gibson, and they make, like, you know, they make cheaper versions of those Gibson-style guitars. They make cheaper Les Pauls and cheaper SGs. And there's some things that Epiphone just does, you know, like the Epiphone Casinos, like the hollow bodies, you know, and those are fucking rad, you know, but a big part of their business is just making more accessible versions of these Gibson-style guitars, right? So I got myself, I think it was $400 at the time, I got myself an Epiphone G-400. Okay, it was an SG style. I had an SG, and you know what? It was fine. It was fine. It's fine. You know, didn't make all my dreams come true. It was fine. It's a guitar. You know, I liked having humbuckers. That's when I fell in love with humbuckers. That was cool. And you know, it felt okay. It was fine. You know, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. It was fun to have an SG style guitar for a while. I don't have it anymore. Sold it to somebody on Craigslist many years ago so I could get something that felt better. Because it just felt okay. You know, it just felt okay. And oh my God, the neck dive. The neck dive. God damn it. Holy shit, the neck dive. If you don't know what neck dive is, that's when the neck of the guitar, your fingers go on, you know, the fret has a fretboard and all, right, is a lot heavier than the body of the guitar, where the pickups are, and the controls, right? And so when you let go, it just sags, just falls down. And so you're always like holding it up. You know, I know there's things you can do. You can stick shit weights on the body to even out the weight, you know. I was young. I didn't think about that. I didn't know that. You know, I've only seen people doing that recently. I missed out on that for a long time. I didn't even think about it. Seems obvious. Didn't think about it. One of those things. Anyway, so it was kind of annoying, you know. It looked how I wanted it to look, right? But it didn't feel great. But what are you going to do? You know, I was locked in. So I enjoyed that for a while. So that was the SG. That was my first dream guitar, right? And then I didn't think about it for a while, you know. The next time I thought about what my dream guitar might be, you know, because I got into recording. I got into recording gear, you know. I spent all my like summer job money in high school on fucking studio monitors and an audio interface and a PC, a desktop, like a custom PC. You know, I didn't make it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't make a lot. Didn't make a lot of money. Just a little summer job, minimum wage in the early 2000s. You know, but I just, you know, I was living with my parents. I didn't have any bills, so that's what I spent all my money on. Right? Was building a little home studio. A lot of those things I still fucking have. Because that's what you do when you don't make a lot of money. You fucking hang on to shit. Okay? You keep it going. So you don't have to spend that money again. You just fucking keep it. You learn how to work with it. You make do. You get better up here in your mind. Right? Anyway. So I didn't think about it for a while. If I was fantasizing about any dream gear, right, it was about a dream audio interface, dream mic preamps, dream microphones, right? Didn't think about the guitar as much as I was playing it, as much as it meant to me. Wasn't really thinking about it, okay? The next time I thought about my dream guitar, I just wanted something that was just a high quality instrument. I wasn't thinking particularly about what brand or shape or style or whatever. I just wanted something high quality. And at the time, I don't know what the reputation is now. Things change over time. But at the time, one of the brands that was synonymous with just quality new instruments was PRS, Paul Reed Smith. Okay? And so I fantasized about having a Paul Reed Smith for a while. You know? For some reason, there's an association now. I've seen it. It was just like where PRS, like, oh, it's lame. You know? Oh, you play that, it's freaking lame, bro. I don't know where that came from. They always seem fine. I don't know where that came from. Did somebody play a PRS along the way and like ruin it? I don't know. okay? But at the time, they were fucking rad. Carlos Santana was rocking the PRS, all right? Come on. What's the problem? It was cool, you know? So I did fantasize about having a PRS, okay? But that's about it. Because I knew they were good, you know? It was a quality instrument, all right? Because that's all I wanted. I just wanted something that could hold it the fuck down, you know? Not break on me. Just have good, reliable sound. Be set up well. Feel good, okay? Now, after I sold my G400, I got myself a Fender Mexican Strat with that glossy maple fretboard, okay? And, oh, goddamn, that glossy maple fretboard. I don't have that guitar either. I sold that thing as well. But, goddamn, son, that glossy maple fretboard. Best goddamn feeling fretboard ever. Smooth as butter. So nice. So I enjoyed that for a while. I enjoyed that guitar for a while. But you know what? I don't, I found out I don't care for single coils. All right? I don't. I do make most of my music recording, you know? I write most of my material in the DAW. You know, I'm recording. I'm trying to get really clean shit. And I didn't like dealing with the single coil hum. You know, and I know there's things you can do for that. I know you can get humbucker pickups that fit in a single coil sized slot. I know there's things you can introduce in your signal path to get rid of that hum. I know there's things that can be done, but I couldn't afford to do any of those things. I couldn't afford to buy one extra item. Okay, I had to make do with what I had. And so instead of, and I don't care about the single coil sound very much. Listen, I appreciate it. Okay. There's some people that's what makes them them. And it has its place, you know, every once in a while I'll still use it, you know, but I'm a humbucker man. I like the round, soft, warm humbucker sound. That's just what I like. Okay, I like it. So when I had the Strat with the single coils, that's when I learned. I'm like, I like humbuckers, man. I just want my humbuckers back. Okay, and when I also learned when I had the Strat, because it had the whammy bar set up, right? Okay, it had the tremolo system, right, with the springs in the back, just classic shit. Okay. And I realized I don't care for that either. All right? That's not something that's crucial to the way I express myself on guitar. And it just causes more problems for me. It's just another thing I have to contend with to set it up and maintain tuning stability. And I don't use it. It's not important to me, okay? So that's when I started fantasizing about my next guitar, what I really wanted. And I'm like, okay, I just want 2 fucking humbuckers, just classic, okay? I want 2 humbuckers, and I want a hard tail. All right, that's just where the bridge, it's just fucking screwed right into the body. It ain't going nowhere, okay? It's in there. No whammy. I don't need a trem arm. I don't need a Bigsby. None of that. I just want the goddamn hardtail, the Tune-o-matic, just the hardtail, okay? So it was having that Strat that I started to hone in, like, what do I really want? Yeah, I just want the humbuckers, hardtail, okay? That's what I want. So when I sold that, I needed some money. I needed some goddamn money. I think I was between jobs or something, so I sold that son of a bitch. And I bought a little cheapy thing. I bought a cheapy thing to get me through, okay? From a company that I think is very slept on. I think this company is super underrated because you just don't see them. They don't sell their shit on major, like through major retailers like Sweetwater, Musician's Friend, or Guitar Center. You can find them on Reverb. You can find them on reverb.com, okay? And you can find them in shops, in independent shops, okay? But Cort, C-O-R-T, Cort, super underrated in my opinion, especially the mid-levels. The $300, $400, $500, good shit. My steel string acoustic that I've been using for years and years, right? It's a Cort. It's gorgeous. Sounds so much more expensive than it is. It sounds so good. I love it. Cort. Don't forget about Cort. Okay. But so I got a cheapy Cort Electric, $150, just to get me through, man. Just to get me through. But it had what I wanted. Hardtail, humbuckers, right? Cheap, right? Sold my Strat, made some money, right? Just to get me through. Okay. So that was the last guitar I had before I got my dream guitar. Okay. And so here's the beginning. Here's the beginning of the story of my dream guitar. Here's where it really begins. All right. Okay. So, my oldest friend, okay? I goddamn love this guy. He's one of my favorite fucking people on the planet. I love him to death. I've known him since kindergarten. All right? I'm going to leave his name out. I'm going to respect his privacy. He values his privacy. All right? But I'm going to tell you a little bit about him in a minute. But my oldest friend, this involves him. He is part of this story. Okay? So, I've known this motherfucker. Okay? Known this motherfucker since kindergarten. All right? We go way back. All right? We're both in our 30s now. Go way back. And we grew up together, man. Our senses of humor developed together. Our taste in music developed together. Right? Our outlook on life developed together, intertwined. And we got into playing music around the same time, I got a guitar, he got a guitar. I forget who got a guitar first, but we got guitars around the same time. And we started learning how to play guitars around the same time. And it was fucking fun, just to nerd out about it and show what we were working on and what we were into. And just, it was great, okay? I went on to be crazy obsessed with that to this day, right? Just learn how to play more instruments, to learn how to record, learn how to write songs, learn music theory, make records, learn sound design. I went to fucking college for audio engineering, learn how to record music. All right. And he didn't, he went in a little bit different way. He wasn't as obsessed about it as I was, but he had fun, right? It was just about the fun for him. I wanted to make this my goddamn life, And he just wanted to have fun, and that's fucking awesome, okay? But a few years ago, he blew past me, right? In an area of music, right? In an area of music, he fucking blew past me in guitar maintenance and repair, okay? Now, I can do a few things. Okay, I can do a few general maintenance things. I can replace strings, obviously. I can replace components, right? I can do the intonation. I can set the intonation for a guitar. I can do some basic woodworking shit. I can do a little bit of wiring. I can do some stuff. But man, a few years ago, he got into doing this. He caught the bug, right? On this maintenance, on guitar maintenance and repair. And he blew the fuck past me so fast. He got so good at it. So fast. It just worked with his brain. It was just perfect. It was incredible. And so he's working on his own instruments. He's buying shit. He's like, buying a whole like workbench setup, soldering iron, like library of, electrical, electronic components, all this guitar, all these specialized guitar maintenance tools he's buying from StewMac so he can level the frets and get the action just right and the truss rod adjusted just right. He's learning how to solder and wire. He's, everything you need to know. He did it so fast and he got so fucking good. It was incredible to see. It was incredible. And so he's working on his own instruments. He restored a Les Paul, I think an Epiphone Les Paul for a friend of his, right? And he's doing a fucking great job, and it is incredible. So one day he asked me, okay? He's like, I'm looking for new stuff to work on for fun. Is there anything you have that I could work on? And I'm like, okay. I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I do have something that's been sitting around for a while. Might be perfect. Okay. And here's what I had sitting around for a while. Here's another little deviation here. Hold on. Gotta goddamn adjust myself. Okay. So, the only other musician in my family, in my extended family, the only other serious musician was an uncle I had, okay? He was I don't know exactly what you call it. He was my grandfather's brother, my maternal grandfather's brother. His name was Phil Cassiopo. Phil Cassiopo, okay? And he was a jazz musician. He was a gigging, regular jazz musician. And that's how he made his living for a good chunk of his life, okay? And many years ago, he passed away, all right? And when he passed away, his two sisters, recognizing this, this is the only other, I was the only other serious musician in the whole extended family. Nobody else cared, right? I didn't grow up in a musical family. Like there was no extended family that I knew that like inspired me or helped me do this. I did this all myself out of nowhere, but they're like, would you like, his sisters came to me and they're like, do you want his stuff? We'd like for this to go somewhere that it would be used and appreciated, keep the legacy going. Would you like his stuff? And I'm like, fuck yeah. Fuck yes. 100%. Are you kidding me? Yes. Holy shit. Right? And I got some beautiful things from him that I will never sell them. I'll keep them forever. I'll keep them working and treasured, and they continue to make music. I make albums with these things. I use these things all the time. The legacy lives on. Some things I got a damn 73 Fender Rhodes electric piano. Goddamn beautiful. Oh, I use it all the time when I make music. Oh, the timbre. God damn it. The fucking timbre of this thing. It's angelic. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I got a 1964, 64, I think, Gibson ES 175. All right, classic fucking jazz box. Big old single cutaway, hollow body, autumn leaves playing motherfucking axe. So charming, so fun. I don't play it often. It has a very specific sound. Doesn't work with everything that I do. I did use it a lot in high school and jazz band, but that was another amazing thing, okay? This banjo over here, right? Bacon and Day, Silver Bell, tenor, 4-string banjo. It's in a little bit of disrepair right now. Had some problems, right? It was working good for a long time. I got to get it repaired again, right? But that's on albums, okay? I've used that shit on albums. I've used it in songs. The legacy, goddamn, lives on. So unique, so beautiful, treasured, absolutely treasured, okay? But another thing I got, all right, was kind of this weird thing. Didn't know what was going on with it, okay? It was a Starfield Les Paul style guitar. All right. So the first time I saw it, I'll be honest. First impressions just looked like a cheap knockoff. Just looked like a cheap Les Paul knockoff, and it was not in good shape when I got it from my uncle. Okay. Because I had heard other things like that. At the time you could go to Walmart, right, and they were selling guitars in the audio aisle. And they were called like Starcasters or whatever, and it just seemed like something like that. Just a Starfield Les Paul, right? And it wasn't. It was in disrepair. The pickups were malfunctioning. The wiring had degraded. It had hardware missing. It had problems. It wasn't really that playable, And at the time, I had other guitars that played, and I couldn't afford to repair it. I wasn't going to sell it. I wasn't going to give it away, Had to keep it. Had to keep the shit going. So I put it in its case. I put it away, forgot about it, and I just carried it around with me if I moved or whatever, just in storage. And so when my fucking badass guitar repairing motherfucker buddy asked me if I had anything to do, any projects, I thought of this guitar, okay? And I'm like, well, I got this old Les Paul knockoff thing lying around, why don't you fiddle with that, Excuse me. And before I gave it to him, I'm like, well, let me do a little research on this thing. I don't know what's going on with it. I never thought about it much. Like I said, I thought it was just a cheap knockoff, okay? So I start doing a little research, okay? And I found out something interesting. Is that this guitar, a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be, okay? So first of all, the guitar is from 1974, okay? And it was made in Japan, 1974, and it was made in this, now listen, I might get some of these details a little wrong, but it's not fucking important, okay? So just bear with me. It's not important to the flow of the story. So I might get some of these details a little bit wrong, but who the fuck cares? The gist of it is correct, okay? So in Japan, in the 70s, there was a guitar manufacturing plant, okay? That several guitar manufacturers operated out of, okay? The most well-known of which was Ibanez, okay? Ibanez is still around. They're still doing great. People love them. They have signature models up the ass. They're still doing just fine, okay? So that's the most well-known brand that was operating in this guitar manufacturing plant back in the day, okay? But there were others there, and what they were doing at the time, and Starfield, okay, was another one of these brands that operated in this plant, in this guitar manufacturing company, whatever, facility. And what they were doing in the 70s is they were making extremely accurate, high-quality copies of American guitars, right? Mostly Gibson and Fender, right? They were making SG copies, Strat copies, Les Paul copies, right? And they were making them real, real good, right? Rivaling the quality of the originals, right? And looking extremely similar to the original. Same headstock style, right? Same inlays, every little detail, right? And they got away with this for a while, right? And people in America were buying them shits, okay? Buying them quite a bit, all right? Because you could get the quality and the look of your favorite Gibson or Fender guitar, right? Without the enormous price tag, that enormous uptick from the brand, All right. So at some point, Gibson and Fender caught on, okay? And they fucking sued them. They sued them, right? And they're just like, quit it. Stop it. I don't like it. All right? And they did. So they stopped making copies. And some of these companies, you don't hear about them anymore. All right? I don't know where they went. All right? I'm not doing that much research. I don't care. It's not important. Okay? I don't know where they went. Ibanez, however, the pressure that was put on them by these American guitar companies, they did very well with that pressure, and they started making original models, right? And they went on to achieve success over time, okay? That's why they're still around today. Starfield was one of those companies that just faded into oblivion, but that's what they were doing back in the day. Starfield was doing the same thing as these other companies, making killer fucking copies of Gibson and Fenders. And now these Japanese guitars are known as pre-lawsuit guitars. So if you see on the internet, this is like a pre-lawsuit Les Paul, right? That's what it is. It's a guitar made in this manufacturing plant in Japan in the 70s. It's an extremely accurate, faithful copy of a Gibson or a Fender, right, before they got sued, okay? That's when I realized that's what I fucking had. I had a pre-lawsuit Les Paul style guitar, right? Kind of neat, right? A little fun piece of guitar history. Not some cheap knockoff, but a fucking fancy knockoff, right? From a neat part of guitar history, you know, in the last century. Pretty rad. Pretty rad. I like it. It's neat, right? So that's what my uncle must have done back in the day. He's like, you know, I can't afford one of them Gibsons. I just need an electric guitar. You know, I just need something to get me through. I don't want it to be a piece of shit, but I just need something. So he found and got one of these pre-lawsuit guitars. Who know? I don't know when he bought it. Can't talk to him anymore. Can't ask him. All right. So neat. So neat. Neater than I thought. Cool. So I give it to him, right, to work on. And, man, one day I hope he can tell you more about the process of restoring it. I really do, right? But until then, I'll give you some details, right? So, he gets through about 90% of the work fairly quickly, right? But that last 10% is a pain in the ass, all right? That last 10%, he was putting on a new nut, all right? A new nut on this thing. The nut is it's on the headstock of the guitar at the top end, right? It's the upper point of contact that the strings make, all right? Before they fan out to the tuning pegs, okay? That's the nut. And he made a new nut for me, all right? And it was kind of a pain in the ass. It's tough. If you've never done that before, it's tough. You got to file it just right. And if you're just a little off, screws up the action, screws up the intonation, screws up the tuning. It's a whole thing. So that little part took him a really long time. But I was no hurry. I don't care. I've got guitars, you know, just have fun, take your time, no deadlines, whatever. And so I got the guitar back, a year later, year and a half later. And that's when I realized it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, holy shit. This is my dream guitar. I didn't even think about it. But when he gave it back to me, I'm like, oh my God. This is my dream guitar that I didn't even think about it. I hadn't fantasized about it. But this is it. I have my dream guitar now. Right? And I'll tell you why. Okay? Because as I got older, the things that make an object valuable to me changed. All right? When I was younger, you know, I just liked stuff that looked cool. You know? I had posters all over my room, like band posters. I just like ones that look cool. You know? Just like, oh, that's some cool colors. That's a cool pattern. That's cool album art, you know? That's all I cared about. But at some point, what I really started to care about was not just if something looked cool, but the memories and the story associated with that object. That's what I started to value, right? So this is an example. When I realized that, I took down all those posters in my room, okay? Because they didn't do anything for me anymore, right? It's not what I wanted. And instead, what I put up was a few paintings, okay? A few paintings that my grandmother painted when she was a little younger. She took a painting class for a little while, and while she was in that painting class, she painted a few little paintings, little landscapes, you know? And I remember seeing them as a kid. I remember being very impressed. I remember my grandma sitting with me as a kid. Excuse me. And she would let me paint on canvases. She had a couple extra canvases. She let me sit down and fool around, right? So I hung up these paintings instead because they reminded me of my grandma, and they reminded me of those childhood memories. And that it's so much nicer. It's so much more meaningful than just some cool shit, you know? So that's when I made that switch. And so that's what I value in an object more than anything. Again, the memories, the feelings, right? The association, the story, right? So not only when he gave me that guitar, I was getting a guitar that had the setup with what I wanted. Dual humbucker, hardtail, right? But holy shit, this was a guitar that came from a family member, the only other serious musician in my whole extended family, okay? That was passed on to me by his sisters, right? That I misjudged and found out years later of its quite interesting history, right? This pre-lawsuit, 1974 Japanese guitar, very interesting, all right? That I then gave to my oldest friend in the world, one of my favorite fucking people, who lovingly, carefully, meticulously restored this kind of beat up guitar to like better than new. He did everything. He leveled the frets perfectly. He rounded them. He cleaned everything with a fine-tooth comb. It just was shimmering when he gave it to me. He replaced the tuners with locking tuners to make it easier to replace strings. Okay? He bought me new pickups for the thing. He gave me the old pickups, but he bought new pickups for me, and he rewired them carefully. He lined the guitar cavity in the back where all the electronics go. He lined it with copper foil, right, to electronically insulate the area to cut down on feedback from other sources, right? And when he gave it to me, there was even a surprise. That he wired it for coil tapping, right? So that I could make each of those humbuckers a single coil if I wanted to by lifting up the volume knobs, okay? It blew my mind. I had my dream guitar, right? Something that was passed down to me, something with interesting history, and something that my oldest friend had lovingly restored. It's an incredible story. It's my favorite story of any instrument I have, and it makes it the most valuable to me instrument that I have. It's priceless to me. I will never part with this. And it came by surprise. It was the dream guitar I didn't know that I wanted, and now I have it. And it's goddamn incredible, you know? So I'll show it to you, right? And guess what? I'm not going to play it for you, right? Isn't that strange? I ain't going to play it for you, all right? If you want to fucking hear the guitar, listen to my last album, okay? I made the whole album with it. It's all over it. Go listen to that. Enjoy that. It's called Interim. It's probably right fucking there. Go listen to that if you want to hear this guitar, right? I'm not plugging it in and fiddling with it today. I'll show it to you. That's all you're goddamn getting. You're just getting a goddamn story today. No demonstration. Go listen to that gosh dang album, motherfucker. All right? Okay. All right. Sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry. God. But here it is. Here it is, my friends. God damn. 1974, Starfield, pre-lawsuit Les Paul. Handed down to me by my grandfather's brother, my uncle, Phil Cassiopo, lovingly brought back to life and improved upon by my oldest friend in the world. Okay? Absolutely incredible. The amount of juju in this thing, it warms the shit out of my heart. Sets my goddamn heart on fire. You know? I'm gonna keep this forever. Keep this forever, goddammit. Better believe it. Oh, see? Starfield. What would you think if you saw it? I don't know. It was confusing, right? But this is a little piece of history. Little piece of history. Little amazing story. My dream guitar right here. And yeah, come on, dude. A little coil tapping. I don't know if you could see it. I don't know if it matters. Didn't even tell me he was doing that. Probably because I'm a simple guy. And if he told me he was thinking about doing it, I would have told him not to. So he didn't tell me. And I'm glad he did. Because it's fun. Every once in a while I'll use it. Every once in a while I'll need it. So it's fun. God, the amount of work he put in, be grateful forever. You know? One of the coolest things anybody's ever done for me. And I'm going to keep making music with this thing rest of my goddamn life. Tell you that. Yeah. So that's the story of my dream guitar. Again, that's my favorite story of anything in this room. Everything in this room has a little story to it, right? Because that's what I care about. That's what I love. That's what I like to see, and that's what I like to surround myself with. Good stories, memories, feelings, okay? But this takes the cake. Nothing beats this. And, buddy, if you're watching, I love you to death. Again, this is the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me. You gave me my dream guitar, buddy. You gave me my dream guitar, and I'll treasure it forever. And I hope you're doing okay out there. Hope you're doing okay, buddy. I love you. All right? And again, if you want to hear what this sounds like, all right, go listen to my album. It's good. All right? I worked on it for 3 goddamn fucking years. Go check it out. It's nice. All right? I didn't work on it every day for 3 years. All right? While I was making it, I had to move 3 fucking times. Okay? So that was fun. Had to put all my shit in storage for a few months. That was fun. All right? A lot happened to me while I was making that record. But I finished it. Because I finished shit eventually. Okay? So thanks for hanging in there. But go listen to it if you want to hear this baby. Okay? All right? So anyway, send it there. That is my favorite instrument story I got. The story of how I got my dream guitar. By surprise. So incredibly happy. Never knew it, you know? So there it is. I hope you enjoyed. More to come soon. All right? Hang in there. Appreciate you. And thanks. Bye. 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 Bye, friend. Okay. Yes, bye. Bye. Oh, bye. Okay. Bye. There's no one there. Just my phone. I feel fucking insane. But bye. Bye. I'm just looking into two black voids. It is my camera. Bye. Bye.